picture of it.
Second.
But,
Monday.
yeah, the front of my house, like all the houses on Henderson,
Young
except
lady
for one.
named Jenny
There's one house on Henderson that's 7247,
on a small
which
field
is
trip.
across the street
I
from
know how
me.
many
That's
kids
the only odd numbered house.
Terry
on
Gann.
Everything else is okay.
I wanted to be.
So the last house on St. Anne
Yeah, that's-
is the one that's
And
kind
my
of up
tour
on the
is-
hill.
You gonna tour around?
Ward one
You
and
got
two.
the three frame houses over
For
here,
everybody.
one brick house over here. My house is
Where the Bethesda church is.
as you come,
Right, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
come around the
But that's
corner.
the
She's
church.
on your right. My house is if you.
I'm sure you'll learn
kept
something.
going straight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and my, you know, I try very hard to keep my.
I'm okay.
Clean
Right.
too. But, you know, sometimes I'll catch the groundkeepers and ask them if they'll. But whoever's been working on that one house on the corner, that's 7271.
If there's anybody else on Zoom, maybe Tony.
They
can
cut some of
talk to them.
that stuff down on the fence line too.
Okay.
I did see her.
That's her.
Yeah,
There
she's
is
just not
still
on
a
screen.
refrigerator
Yeah,
out
she
there
just
in
walked
front
out.
of that house. That's the only bad piece of anything.
Side
on it.
dirty.
Yeah.
I need to go back to my
There was
love
lots of
seat.
trash on the lawn. I know that,
I was asleep too, man. I feel so good.
Rick knows about it because we've talked about
Okay.
it before. But they've been slowly.
You got a favorite show? You not reading them?
But-
No, just my love seat. Man, it's an old love seat that just, you know, you sit there and you just kind of just go, oh.
Just sink it, right?
Yeah. It's the best thing ever.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
It's not 5:30. It is 5:30.
We don't have a quorum now.
5:33.
Oh,
yes,
There's a quorum.
yeah, good.
Good.
Thank you.
Hey, Julie.
Need one more person?
We just
Tony,
had,
he just pulled up.
okay. We have a quorum now, but if you wanna wait a couple
Oh,
minutes.
wait. Let's wait for Tony.
Look on somebody.
I don't know if it's Washington or.
Washington.
We have.
What's going on, Tony? Julie?
We got
I was
you.
watching, y'all was.
This was
That helps. TDD money.
Why is it very instrumental?
Because we got the same.
Would you say these two?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and we know one tries to steal my green.
Okay, let's open up the public hearing portion of the meeting.
I didn't hear that.
The Parkchester Park Construction Grant, application. Do we have anybody to speak?
Public comment on the Parkchester Park construction. Mayor, it doesn't appear that we have anyone that would like to speak.
Okay. We will close the public hearing portion.
There may be council comments on it.
What'd you say?
You didn't ask for council comments on it.
That will be later on the, new business. Is that it, Kiana? You said nobody?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
no citizens? Okay. Can I get a roll call, please?
Schwarzenhammer?
Here.
Cleveland? Here. Councilman Washington?
Here.
Councilman Evans? Councilwoman Gore?
Here.
Councilman Roberts?
Here.
Councilwoman Baye?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion.
I
Second.
have a comment on the agenda, if that's okay.
You have a motion to, change something on the agenda or?
I have a question about the agenda. That
Go ahead.
may require a change. If I can just ask the question?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's almost the 1st of September. I was certainly expecting there to be some discussion of the budget in this meeting because we don't have a draft budget yet, and I don't see that. These meetings are starting to look much more like regular council meetings in every way, other than the workshops that we had in the past to work on things like the budget. We have not had any budget amendments this year, nor have we had any discussion of the upcoming budget. And for me, that's a problem.
Do I have is Marty there? I can't see.
No, he's not.
Which Marty?
The,
The other Marty.
So I will say, Mayor, he provided a document with some information that was provided to the council this evening. It was sent out via email as well for those who are not present right now. Just kind of giving a little update. It's a separate piece of paper that was separate from the packet. He provided it to me before he left for the day. That's just giving you a little update of where we are with the budget process.
hold on, because I was under the understanding that he was gonna give us unless I got the,
Yeah, just check your email. He sent it out late this afternoon.
So can we add a discussion of that document?
That is actually, so
That's
that
it.
document that you have in your hands, he told me specifically that is for the council only. So we can have some discussion about that later if you would like. But that document is just for you guys, so please do not just throw it in the trash here or anything. Just keep that to yourselves for right now.
So are we going to be going into closed session after the meeting?
If we need to for personnel, I'm not sure if there is anything. Mayor, are you aware of anything for closed session for personnel?
I wasn't aware of anything, but the last time we talked about the agenda, it was my understanding that the budget was gonna be on there, and I'm looking at it, and that's not the one that I remember seeing.
Okay, well, I did talk with Marty and I did ask him, should the budget discussion be on the agenda, and he told me no. So that item was not added to the agenda, and I did send out the agenda for approval before compiling the packet that went out.
Give me 5 minutes, hold on.
things are kind of in flux right now. Yeah, but then, yeah, we're last on the list. So. But- Sure. I would say we would probably be done no later than 7, I would think, with the items on the agenda. Yeah, that'd be kind of a stretch, I think, if we were past 7. Well, I think it's great to, this is what it's,
Yes.
this is great to just kind of see,
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome.
yeah, what the, all the, again. Sausages. Exactly, right, exactly.
Where's everything? Where's the ball?
They come to I recommend coming to one of the regular meetings. They like to show up for the regular meetings.
The workshops are much quieter, but we, obviously getting the MOU, done ASAP is a priority to get the program rolling, so.
I mean, we've been busy getting like doing work the past couple of weeks because school started, but not.
Exactly, right. Get that moving, so.
Hey, Tony's on.
Hi, Tony. Is Chief Sanders there?
She is in City Hall, but she's not in this room.
Okay, I needed her for number 3 on new business. Can I get a motion to include budget discussions under new business? I cannot, somebody's mic is open. Okay, now, what'd you say, Kiana?
Okay. Everybody, I think we're at it, we have a motion and a second, if you like to amend the agenda.
What was the motion?
There was a motion to approve with a second. You'll need a motion to amend the. What?
Was it a motion to include the budget discussion under new business?
Yeah, if there could be a
Okay.
motion.
Can I get a, all in favor?
No, we need a motion and a second.
Oh, I thought you said that somebody already said it.
No.
I move that we add a discussion of the budget to new business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Let's do it for number, I don't know if we needed it for that.
And
Let's do it.
Mayor, I think we need to go back and get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to figure out where, do we need to say under new business where that discussion is gonna happen for the budget?
That's up to you.
Okay, we'll do number 1. Can I get a motion to approve the amended as amended, agenda as amended, sorry, Jesus.
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Number 4, approval of appointment of city council vacancy. So we have a vacancy, unfortunately, due to the passing of Councilwoman Shivers. And my recommendation to the council is an appointment of David Hong, who is a 19-year resident of Normandy's 3rd Ward. He also served on the council previously for 2 years and is a active member in the community and has been so. I would like to appoint him in order for us to make sure that we have a full board and that ward number 3 is not underrepresented. He is someone who understands the process of being on the council and who can jump right in, feet first, and basically like keep the ball rolling. Does anyone have any questions about Mr. Hong? Is he there?
He is not.
I don't know if he's gonna be there or not. Any questions, anybody have about Mr. Hong?
Well, I have a couple. Number one, he was on the council before, and I think, from my understanding, I wasn't around at the time, or I heard different things during that time, that it was a few documented cases where he kind of raised eyebrows when he was on the board. And also when he ran against Ms. Shivers, I think Ward 3 voted for Ms. Shivers instead of Mr. Hong. So, and another thing, back then it was a lot of chaos and a lot of craziness going on back then. I want to kind of keep this board going and going forward instead of trying to go backwards. So I'm looking for a more positive outlooking person to represent the city council, because I heard different, I don't know if it's true, but I heard different things about Mr. Hong and his personality and things that he done. So that's my opinion.
I think we should, I think we should caution about rumors that we've heard about people, and you also, I wanna, wait, sorry, were you finished?
No, wait, go ahead, you can speak.
Go ahead.
No, I said there was also documented cases, him raising the eyebrows when I'm not talking about rumors, I'm talking about documented cases.
I'm not sure about what documented cases you're talking about. This Councilman Hong was never in any way, shape, or form impeached. He was not ever reprimanded for his performance on the council. He was never documented for improprieties or anything of that nature. He did run against Councilwoman Shivers, and he did lose, but I will say that you also ran against Councilman Evans and you lost, and I appointed you to be on the council. So I don't think that completely negates someone's opportunity to serve on the council. He did win the first election against former Councilman what is his name? Hunt. So I wouldn't say that he has a tainted record. I would say that his record is pretty much impeccable when it comes to his performance on the council and his professionalism. People that have been on the council and served with him, there are a few. If you would like to say something about what you remember about Councilman Hong?
Yes, I knew David before for a short time, 6 months or so, got to know him a little bit. He always came prepared to every meeting. He's very active in the social network. He's a very good liaison to UMSL, for instance. I think he takes a course occasionally. I thought he had a degree through there. I could be wrong there. But he's extremely professional that I've seen. I was on the council for 2 years with him. I don't see where any complaints are. You could go through the documentation and there could be any of us that someone may think at any time that's slightly out of line. David was professional. He may not have agreed with everything the council did. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is he was professional every time and extremely intelligent. So that would be a miscarriage of justice if someone took rumors and not wanted someone that had such a good record. I have no idea off the top of my head what anyone's talking about.
What did he?
Yeah, and the same here. Not to I'm sorry about just jumping in. I've worked with David over the 2 years that he was on the council. Never had any problems with David. As far as rumors, I don't know what rumors are being spreaded or what people are talking about, but it's hard to believe that someone will make up a rumor and run with it. I just don't get that, because we've always worked together. David worked with everybody on the board, was always open to suggestions, and for somebody to just come out and say rumors, I just don't get with that. I'm sorry, but David's a nice guy, and he's a hard worker. Never had no issues with him, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, like I said, I've never, I would deter anyone from listening to rumors. I mean, we've all had rumors, heard rumors and everything, and we're all council members. And I know at the last meeting, I did bring this appointment up. Unfortunately, it was kind of like at the wrong time, second time, but I think everyone knew who I was talking about. At any point, like I said, when I brought up his name, if you wanted to speak to him or if you wanted to look at his history, it is documented on Zoom. It is documented also in the minutes that we have as council members. You can, if you don't see it on the website, you can always call and ask. I did not receive any phone calls from anyone asking me about this appointment, asking me about his history. You can look up his voting record. It is public record. And also the meetings, like I said that we had at the time. Has the council been completely peaceful in the entire time that any of us have been on the council? I would say no. I would say that we have to work together with anyone who's in the community, who serves in the ward. And, you know, it is our job as council members to make sure that we are trying to work with anyone who comes across the table. I have sat at the dais, and even now, I don't agree every time when someone says something. Everyone has their own opinion about how a vote should go or an issue and everything like that. But I would say that he's a person that can see both sides of the aisle. Mr. Hong is actually on also. Go ahead, Councilwoman Valle, I'm sorry.
I'm concerned about the process again here. The mention of this person's name came in a closed session meeting where it wasn't supposed to happen. So it's my understanding that the announcement is made of the vacancy at one meeting, which was, we did that. And then at the next regular meeting, there's a discussion of the appointment of that person. There was a little bit of rush in this process, and that it was talked about in a closed session meeting where it wasn't supposed to happen. I would suggest that we need to wait until the next full meeting, public meeting, to have this vote.
I'm gonna let me answer that. At the closed session where I mentioned David's name, that was my mistake. Where I said that I was giving full disclosure. I did mention his name, you know, again to Councilwoman Beret, because I told her that was going to be my pick, and I didn't want her to be caught off guard with that. But everyone at the last meeting, which was August, I can't remember what day it was. The second Tuesday of the month, everyone heard his name. And in saying his name, I said, if you have any questions about Mr. Hong, please let me know. And I was instructed it was the wrong place and everything. And that was my mistake. But we heard it. You can't unhear it. And that does not negate the fact that this person is still the person for it, the appointment. And to my understanding, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, it does not matter when I bring this appointment forward, what a regular session or a workshop. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mayor. The statute doesn't prescribe a particular timeline. It just says if a vacancy occurs in any elective office other than the mayor, a successor to the office shall be selected by appointment by the mayor with the advice and consent of a majority of the remaining members of the council. The code does not flesh that out with any sort of additional procedural requirements. It's sort of the discretion of the council. And I would like to make, and I know there's maybe a question about that, I would like to make one more point about discussions of what may or may not have been discussed in closed session.
Right.
So again, generally, whether something discussed in a closed session is disclosed later is either governed by statute or the entirety of the council deciding whether to discuss something. And since one thing was mentioned, I will just say, like, that was rectified immediately, and there was not a discussion of the item in a closed session meeting. But I just wanted to put that out there as well. Do you have a question about the vacancy appointment process?
Yeah, I think it's the one that the statute that describes the vacancy and how filled. I think there is some reference to doing it in a meeting and then at the next regular meeting.
That's for offices that are not elective, so an appointed office. So if the Public Works Director office became vacant, right, then in that case, the mayor would appoint a person to discharge the duties until the first regular meeting, at which point the vacancy would be permanently filled with the advice and consent of the council. Because in that case, right, if Public Works is the Public Works Director is vacant, Public Works still has to operate, right? The council can operate in the interim while that vacancy is filled, but in the course of daily operations, an appointed officer would need to be filled pretty quickly to keep operations running. That's, I think, the distinction there.
So in order to keep the council running, we have to make an appointment, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, because there are seven current members on the council, right? And you can get a quorum with 5 members, you can operate business. There is the concern of, Ward 3 having, a smaller representation while that seat is vacant, but there's no prescribed timeline here, right? It could have happened at the last meeting, it could be stretched out for several more meetings, right? It's the council's pleasure as to how much deliberation this requires.
So the comment that I made, and Councilwoman, or I kind of mentioned to you in this conversation before, it's in the best interest to have a full council and to make sure that every ward retains their 2 votes. So right now, Ward 3 only has 1 vote of yes or no or whatever issue. So it's in the best interest for us to maintain a full council, so that Ward 3 is not underrepresented. And we've had this happen before. Like I said, Councilwoman Cleveland was appointed when someone stepped down. Councilman Washington was appointed when we had a vacancy. I myself in Ward 4 asked to be appointed. This was way before, and I was denied, and that seat actually sat empty for about 9 months until we had an election. And so Ward 4 for about 9 months did go underrepresented. I don't think that that's in the best interest of the city, or the best interest of the ward for that to happen. And like I said, this is someone who has been on the council before. He understands the process. He is a open-minded individual. I would say that he is definitely an independent thinker. He's very intelligent, and he has always shown professionalism when it comes to sitting on the council. Also, he is a member of the Normandy, what do you call it? What is it? I can't think of it. The Normandy Province organization. His wife she serves on the Parks Board, and even without being a member of the city council, he's still an active person in our community. Mr. Hong, are you on at all?
He's here.
He's in person?
Yes.
Oh, you wanna come up and say a few words?
Is that allowed?
Yep, she's asking if you'd like to come speak.
It is.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
I don't really have a whole lot to say other than this is Hawaiian casual for me, so apologies for my appearance. I'm just here to serve if it's the council's pleasure. If I were to resume, I don't really have any other intentions of maintaining the seat after budget passing. It's just not necessary for me to do so. But if there is a need, I would hope that everyone would speak up and say otherwise. But I think after October, I would probably step away anyways. So this would just be a Band-Aid for the time being. That's all.
Can I ask a question?
I don't know
So
if
you only
that's-
gonna be here for a couple of months? I mean, just do it for a couple of months and not?
I think so, yes, just because of my schedule with work ramping up. There's a lot of regulatory and compliance issues coming in from the federal level, so we're trying to prepare for that. But
Okay, thank you.
any other questions?
So what's the purpose? It's the end of August, September, October, you wouldn't be here anymore. What?
Well, for the time being, as I understand my conversation with Mayor Campbell, that I could serve our community in the meantime, so that we can have a budget passed and so that we can work through any outstanding issues that we have currently, because that's the only real goal that I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No, wait a minute. So you said you didn't want to serve after October? I didn't realize that, Mr. Howard.
I'm not certain if I would or if I would need to. That's my consideration.
Oh, okay. You don't think you'll stay till April?
I would be hesitant to serve until April, yes.
Okay.
Because April's when the election is, right?
Correct.
April is when the election is. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that you had changed your, yeah.
In October, because that's when we have fiscal year for budget.
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it.
And again, if things were to change, come December, for instance, I would have to file for candidacy if I were to run for election, whether or not I'm on the board temporarily.
Okay.
You realize you would have to file if you wanted to continue on until April, but you wouldn't have to actually like step down if you didn't file.
Right. Sure.
Okay. Right.
Anyone else?
That's it. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm sorry, hold on. All right,
Mayor, just say once you're ready, if there are no other comments or questions.
yeah, if there, does anyone want to give a motion, to approve the appointment?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
There was a motion to approve the, and she just asked for exactly what I was gonna say, which was the proper thing would be for there to be a motion to approve the appointment. So Councilman Saxonheimer has made that motion.
I'll second.
Can I get a roll call vote?
I have a question. Can we,
Oh, go ahead.
to approve his appointment?
Correct.
We're gonna do the roll call now.
So there's been a motion and a second.
Okay, got you now, got you, okay, thank you.
Councilman Saxonhammer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
I hate to say no, but it's gonna be a no.
Councilman Washington?
No.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
No.
Councilman Roberts?
No.
Councilwoman Bayard?
No.
The noes have it, the nays have it.
All right, thank you. Old business, a discussion of rental properties. Councilman Washington, I believe you wanted to talk about that?
Earlier this afternoon, we spoke with the code enforcer, and we asked him a few questions about what would make his job easier to get the codes enforced. And he said that we need to change the nuisance ordinance. So that's one of the things he stated that would help him better perform his position as far as a code enforcer. And he said he had a few other options that we could probably bring him to our code enforcement meeting, and he could discuss those with us also. But that's one of the nuisance, one of the ordinances he brought up that he said that would definitely help him improve him doing this job.
What particular part of the nuisance or the nuisance chapter is 200 is the whole chapter 220? So what particular section?
Well, I don't know, but that's the ordinance he brought up to our attention, and that's why we need to bring him here and talk to him and find out exactly what would help him improve his job.
Can I say something? We're on the 220 right now, we are gonna discuss that. And that and I did talk to Marty, who's his manager, because if he comes in the evening, he's hourly, we have to pay him time and a half to come. And Marty did say it's okay. We have to still go through the proper, channels, and you have to talk to the supervisor, because he is an hourly employee. He's gotta get paid time and a half to come.
So what is your what excuse me, what's the is it a question about when he can come, or is it a question about the ordinance, or is it a combination of both?
Okay.
Okay.
I guess he told us just let him know what day and what time, and he, I guess we talked to Marty and to find out exactly when he can come, and I guess we have to pay him hourly to be here. But he stated that that's one ordinance that was kind of preventing him from getting things done before it's getting codes enforced.
Well, like I said, it's an entire chapter that has different sections, and he didn't specify
part of the ordinance. He didn't say exactly what part. He just said the nuisance ordinance need to be updated.
Right. And can I say something? That is the ordinance that we're going to talk about in the code enforcement meeting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're just you guys are discussing that chapter of the code in the subcommittee. So you're asking that he be invited to the subcommittee meeting? Is that what I'm saying? What you're saying? Okay.
I think it, Tony, can I,
So when's the next meeting, Karen?
Okay, the next meeting is gonna be September, it's the 19th, it's the third Wednesday of September.
So that, are you, that day is the tour, correct?
Right,
Okay. And then
19th, yeah. And then, okay, since I'm part of the chair of this meeting, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to the code. We're gonna get to the 220 code. We're gonna do that in October. That's when we're gonna get into that. We can't skip that part of it. We have to get to the nuisance code. And we do have an ordinance already printed up when we're gonna get to it, but we have to get to it. We're gonna get to that in October. This is gonna be a long process. It's not gonna be like, it's gonna just happen overnight. So that's one of the things. One of the things we have to do, I should not have to do, I suggest that we do, is tour the city. So everybody in every ward would know, especially the committee people. We have 4 people from each ward. Take a tour of the city so they'll know when we start talking about these ordinances, we can be on one accord. Because the problem that we have in Ward 1, they don't have it in 4 or 3 or either 2. So we want everyone to kind of get a glance of what everybody's talking about when we get to this code. So we already know about the nuisance code 220. We did not know about it. So we are aware of the 220 nuisance code. We just got to do a deep dive in it, and we have not done that yet.
so I don't think it's a question of him coming or not. I think it's a question of when Councilwoman Cleveland and Councilwoman Valle would deem him appropriate to come, because it would not be when they're taking the tour. There wouldn't be any, in my opinion, there wouldn't be time to do that. So I'm going to defer to them because they're the ones that set the agenda for that meeting, and they are the chairs for the code enforcement subcommittee.
may I speak?
Go ahead, Councilwoman Valle.
Yeah, I think one of the issues that came up when we're specifically talking about rental properties is making sure that we change the process so that both owners and residents are cited, but the primary responsibility would be with the homeowner to do that. One of the things that we need to have is some clarity about how many rentals we have where, and that's going to take some diving into tax records and such to figure out how many of our properties are rentals. But in the case of LLCs, there's always problems with finding them. So what we're going to do, as Karen said, is that we're going to take this up in a deep dive in October, because the September meeting has already been set.
So I know that our code already leans towards, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, if there is a citation, it's a rental property, the owner and the renter are cited if they do have to get a citation to come to court?
So section 220.040 doesn't distinguish between owner occupied or rental properties, just says each owner, lessee, tenant, occupant, or person in charge of any real property is hereby charged with responsibility for the maintenance and use of that property in such manner that it shall not constitute a nuisance, right? So maybe there's another specific provision that Mr. Sampson is referencing, but that I do believe the nuisance code is already applicable, and tenants can be held liable for that, right? Now there can be a difference, and I'd have to do a little research on this. There can be a difference between whether it's one thing to cite the tenant under the nuisance code and say this is a nuisance, you need to come to municipal court. It's another thing to give notice to the tenant only, right, and not the property owner, and then go in and abate and file a tax lien against the property, right? So there's also differences in procedures we have to think about there, but certainly as far as municipal court goes, I believe a tenant could be held liable for a nuisance on the rental property.
But we probably are just looking for some clarification in that
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, and again, if there are any particular questions, we don't necessarily have to get into it
No,
now,
we're not gonna
but,
get into tonight, but I think some of the things that he was talking about that makes his job kind of hard, that we need to be very specific, like grilling on the front, swimming pools and all these other
But
apparatus.
that was the conversation that we had about open structures, and Andy has already taken that on.
Oh, you did, okay.
Open,
Right,
is it
so-
open? Yeah.
yeah, and I sent an opinion to Marty and the mayor, but I can forward that on to the code enforcement, committee, if that's,
Yes,
well, I don't
please.
know if it made it to you or not, so.
Yeah.
So I can do that, absolutely.
Well, he also
And that
said
was,
he was
and
having-
that was from the discussion that we had at the first meeting, I want to say, about open structures when we had the discussion about what people don't want to see in their front yards. So that is something that has already,
And if I may, I would ask that rather than legal questions about code interpretation being brought up, at the council meeting, like where I don't have time to research and stuff, if you guys could, on the code enforcement committee, put together a list of questions
Yeah.
and then send them to me, right? And you gotta run it through the city administrator and the mayor, before I can really start, incurring costs on that, but I'm happy to look into those, research them, and provide a written opinion on those. And if I ever need to appear, I know on the 17th I can't, I have a Board of Aldermen meeting, but, assuming schedules, work out, I'm happy to come to meetings as well.
Okay.
he was stating that he was having a hard time locating the owners of these different properties.
Yes, and that is a question of logistics and the difficulty of enforcement, not the sufficiency
not the code.
necessarily, right? We do, and this happens everywhere, in every city, right? We run into the problem where the property is owned by 123 LLC out of San Diego, right? But even if the property owner is an LLC, if they have a valid legal address and they are sent notice, that's sufficient. They don't have to respond, right? They've provided a legal address. The city sends them notice that says, hey, your property's a nuisance, clean it up or we're gonna come clean it up for you and put a tax bill on your property. That's all you need to do.
Yeah,
That is sufficient.
I think the issue here becomes how does that help the city? It does not, right? You can cite them all you want, right? But all it does is pile up. But really, we want that change to happen.
100%.
So we have to look for a mechanism that can actually get that change to happen, whether it's through the tenant or we find somebody who are responsible, either through the owner, even if the owner is somewhere in San Diego.
Right, and so certainly we've talked about that, right, holding the tenant responsible. We've talked about changes to the occupancy permit, right, to require regular, renewals of the occupancy permits and making some changes that I think are authorized under Missouri law about requiring certain information to be provided by, LLC owners. But again, I'm not talking about sending a citation in municipal court to an LLC. I'm talking about actually abating the nuisance, right?
Yeah.
Which we have done in the past when there's been a dead tree on property or something like that, where the city actually goes in, fixes the problem, and then whatever the cost was, whether it's the cost of the time of the employee or the contractor that has to come do it, that could be assessed against the property as a tax lien. And then if they don't pay that, the property could go up for tax sale, right? I mean, that's.
In 3 years.
So, right, well, after 3 years, correct, after 3 years, but, and there are absolutely collection issues, right? But, those are the options, right? And there
Right.
will be a workaround
I don't wanna-
the issue, but unfortunately, there's no way to stop out-of-state LLCs from buying property. We can just try to get creative with ways to address that, but.
So moving forward, in the meeting in October, Councilwoman Valle and Councilwoman Cleveland, do you think that would be the best meeting for him to attend?
Yes, we should have some questions. What you think, Vicki? We have enough questions for him, or?
Yeah, I think we'll need to talk and figure out what the next step will be, but the earliest would be October.
And I also suggest to him, when I do get to talk to him,
Got
that he
it.
should actually have those specific changes that he's suggesting to the council, before he brings it to you, so that you're already thinking about what he wants to see happen.
Right.
And how that would help in the situation that we're trying to deal with.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
Okay.
Who was that?
Sure.
The new city administrator.
This new
Oh,
city-
I didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm like, who was that?
Who's that talking?
I can't see the table. I'm like, who is that? Okay. So October at the subcommittee meeting, and then a list of questions that we'll weed through and see what needs to be answered through Andy, and also welcome to our new city administrator, and then he can also give us some insight as to what he sees as what we should do going forward once he gets his feet wet with our code enforcement process and everything. So I'm sure he'll have some good recommendations for us moving forward. Number 2, old business, discussion of city communication system. Councilwoman Valle?
Yeah, this has been something I've been talking about for a while, but I think it's important that we have discussions with our new city administrator to get his perspectives on how we might go about systematically communicating with our residents in multi-channels, whether that's social media, whether that's text messages, whether that's emails, what kind of database that we have, and whether that works with iWorks, the existing software that the city uses. Is that the sufficient software? Do they have a bolt-on kind of a product that they can use? How expensive is all of that? We cannot, and Marty Corcoran told me very loudly and clearly, we can't think about any of this without some consideration of the budget. So what we need to do is to look at this as a goal of communicating to the city more broadly. I think in conjunction with a strategic plan for the city, there should be a strategic communication plan that goes along with that. What messages, when, how, to whom, why, where, all of those kinds of things. It would be premature to have any software vendors come in until, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of them, but it would be premature for me to go through and to do any of that without discussions with the new city administrator and budget considerations. So I think what we might want to do in the new budget is to allocate some amount of money to improving communications with the city. Whether that would be with more newsletter, with software, whatever. If it's software, it could be from capital improvement funds. But I think it's premature. We can't get into that until we know where we stand financially.
Mr. Administrator,
All right, thank you.
got any ideas or anything you want to discuss for us?
It's really gonna be about the budget. I gotta see what the numbers are, what they look like, and then we gotta figure out what type of omni-channel that we wanna approach in terms of, that we're gonna be using to communicate with the residents. I mean, but like you said, the newsletter, Facebooks, text alert system, whatever it might take, but what are we trying to achieve? And then how much is it gonna cost us, or what's out there in the market, and what efficiency in terms of based on our budget. So I don't know what the budget right now, the room is. Last I spoke to Marty, he said there's no room. So I don't know, that's something we'll have to have a conversation about going forward. Now, would that be an economic development thing, so you can, put it under economic development? Partially, but a lot of it is really not economic development. It's really just communication to the city and its residents. So that's a different thing. So I do know there's some funds in there, but
But software, you can use capital improvement for software.
Yes, you can.
Mayor? Hey, Mayor, can I speak briefly?
Somebody say something?
Hi.
Oh, go ahead.
I actually would love to meet with Sugun and bring him up to speed about what we have here because, you know, he has not been on with us, you know, in the office yet. To bring him up to speed, let him know what we do have available, what we do pay for, and what services that we have, and maybe some of the challenges that we're facing right now, as well as some new things that may be coming down that may actually be included in the budget very shortly that could be just a little additional thing through our service provider from our website. They have some other tools, but it's not the time for that discussion yet, but I would love to connect with him and bring him up to speed before we revisit this agenda item.
That's a good segue into the new business topic. So everyone is going to get their time with Mr. Sugun. It is important that he understands the inner workings of the city and gets an idea of what we already have before he can make any recommendations, right? You gotta get the lay of the land first. So these discussions that we're gonna have are essential to have, but we also need to make sure that we're prioritizing, and we need to make sure that we are also remembering the recommendations that have come across the podium from citizens and also from our citizen survey and everything when we talk about it. And when I talk about the citizen survey, I'm talking about the 2024 survey that went out and it prioritized what citizens wanted to see happen in the community and where they felt like we had gaps in our enormity and where they stood. So having these conversations are important. We need to make sure that we're having them in the right perspective and prioritizing them accordingly. But certainly if you have any suggestions or sorry, if you want any input from Mr. Sugun and everything, you know, feel free to ask him. He will be at our board meeting so he can see the inner workings of the committees that we have in the council meetings. With that being said, when we come to the budget under new business, the conversations that have been had about the budget that I've had with Marty, I don't know if I'm not sure if anyone else has had these conversations, but we were talking about where we would stand when it came to our insurance. The good thing is when it comes to insurance, we are out of the pool. So we are going to actually save some money when it comes to our insurance, when it comes to workman's comp also. We will see a $70,000 decrease in that negative hit that we've been taking. So we've been doing really well with keeping our noses clean when it comes to insurance and everything. And I think it's definitely paying off. The projections that we had so far were to be $600,000 in the black at the end of this year. And with being out of the pool, that what's going to be really great about that is that our fees with travelers will also go down. So we're going to save money in that area. Now, clearly it's not going to be a lot, but you know, that's something where we will save money moving forward. We need to figure out where we want to allocate that money to make the city, in my opinion, more efficient. We've been talking about code enforcement. code enforcement is something that we hear all the time when we're sitting at the dais. It is not going to get any better if we only continue to have one employee for 5,000 residents. That does not serve the community well, and we will continue to see gaps if we don't address it from a personnel standpoint, in addition to having another city clerk to help the front office in that arena. So those are a couple of the things that, one of the things that's going well in the recommendation that I would like to see happen, like with the council. If you didn't get to read Marty's email, it kind of outlines that. He breaks it down into more specifics. One of the things that we did also talk about was how we could progressively give a cost of living increase. Because if you look at where Normandy sits with other communities when it comes to salary, we are consistently at the bottom 25% or at the bottom 10% of the bell curve. And in order for us to attract and gain quality individuals, that caveat is going to have to change. It's not going to be something that we can do all at once. It will most likely be a progressional increase, but that is something that's also something that I've talked to him about and something that he does recommend. Another city inspector, another city clerk, an increase in pay overall for employees, and also an increase in our police department. So I think we are heading in the right direction to cover these costs. It is not going to be a budget where we are going to get everything that we want all at once, but it's going to be another tight one. But I think that the cost of living increase and making sure that we spend our money in the right places is going to be what's best for Normandy. I'm going to yield the floor. I'm going to start with Steve and get his thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to go with Steve and start down the row. If anyone makes a comment about the budget.
When I read these recommendations, I agree with every one of them. But to me, the budget will be squeaky tight. We need to take care of our employees. One inspector for 5,000 people is bizarre. It's almost incredible. Okay, so before we spend money on anything else, we need to take care of our people. So we don't have such a turnaround just around the clock in the police department. We train them, they go.
Yeah.
No, I can't blame them for going to make more money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to be more competitive off to shoot. That's what I'm saying. So we need to think a lot in this budget about the people that take care of Normandy. That's the police, public works, the main office. We need to take care of these people first. The other things in some cases can either be migrated in over time. I didn't say we wanted to forget anything else. I said, but we have to take care of who takes care of us first. Otherwise, we're in the same boat and all we do is we just keep stirring it up. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cleveland.
So number 2, the administrative assistant, is are we gonna have another administrative assistant in the front, the person, or is this person gonna be in the front? Is this?
This is an addition to the part-time administrative assistant that we have in the office. There was a brief discussion of, and this is actually a requested line. There was a brief discussion of possibly opening up a position for a deputy city clerk to help split up some of the meetings and alleviate some of the things that I can delegate out. Right now, I don't have that ability to do that. And honestly, quite frankly, if anything were to happen to me for any reason, I don't have a backup. And that's a real concern, and I don't think that's sustainable going forward. My discussion with Marty was instead of making the title strictly a deputy city clerk, that we keep it administrative assistant, because that person would also share the duties of also housing clerk as well. So it would be I guess it would be a cross-trained position.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's all question I have. Okay.
Yeah, I also agree with everything that Marty recommended. I also want to state that I want to have at least the basic service for our city, basic communication, basic public works. I mean, we do a pretty good job with public works, but we could do better. And communication, and we want to definitely improve the code enforcement, so we definitely need another inspector. So if some kind of way we can get the basics and also get an inspector, we can work towards improving, our city and making it more livable.
Who was that?
Tony Washington.
Oh, okay, sorry. Councilwoman Bray?
I agree. I read it and.
Did you skipped over me, Mayor?
Shoot. That's why I was like, who is that? Go ahead.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna get you after, Bray.
I just have a real quick comment. I've seen the recommendations.
Let Bray finish, and then
okay, go ahead. Well, I just have some real quick. I've seen the recommendations.
Wait, I didn't want to. Hold on, I didn't want to cut her off because she was in the middle of speaking.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Bray.
I simply agree with what Marty has recommended, and I would like to see Kiana have some help, and Public Works have some help. I see you have a lot on you, and if you couldn't come, we would be in trouble.
Yes.
So yeah, she needs some help. Where do we get the money from with the budget being as tight as it is my question.
So one of the things that we just discussed was the insurance cost is going to be lower, so that's going to free up some funds right there, and everything. We are going to finish in the black this year. Thank God. But we will be able to allocate some of those funds, but every recommendation is just a draft, and the council has to approve yes or no for these positions to be funded and to be paid for.
That's all. I agree. And I hope that we get you all the help that you need.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilman Evans.
The only thing I had, I seen the recommendations, and I'm not really gonna suggest or sign on to anything until I actually see the budget. I want to see that actual budget until I make a decision on anything. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, we do not have a draft yet. This is just a discussion, right? So we don't have a full draft. That's probably going to be coming in the next week, and we'll have it at the next meeting. So these are just recommendations. There hasn't been anything a draft form completely. Councilman Roberts.
Yes. Yeah, so I also do appreciate this being brought up. I'm all about the cost of living. I guess a recommendation, just because we're talking about budget and things being so tight. I guess the costs that we're talking about as far as the second city inspector and the administrative assistant, those are full-time positions, right?
Those would be full-time positions.
Okay. So
But his recommendation is, yeah.
the only recommendation I had was like, I believe the people who are currently here definitely probably need a pay raise because they haven't had a pay raise for 3 years. But what about maybe like I know you need help, Kiana, and I know that definitely the city inspector needs help, but maybe like part-time, so we won't have to talk about benefits, we can cut that out, and that could be just a little cost saver too. I know we currently don't have those positions right now, but just to think about maybe part-time as far as cost saving. That's it, that was my recommendation.
Thank you. Councilwoman Valle?
I agree with Councilman Evans. I can't really think about budget unless I see some numbers in front of me. These are great ideas if we can afford them, but we have to look at the overall scope of everything that we want to do, including things like the Park Grant Commission, that application. Those are reimbursement grants. The city has to have the ready cash to pay stuff and then be reimbursed by the county for the money that we spend on park grants. Also got to come up with your matching amount. So all those things need to be considered as we consider budget. So we've got to know how tight it is. We've got to know exactly what the numbers are. And one of the problems that I saw with this year's budget is that the projections were too high. That when the projections were made for income from various sources for this year, they were optimistic. We don't need optimistic projections. We need realistic projections. So that, I think, is something, and when we look at all that, what's the revenue stream going to look like? How then can we afford these things? And we really can't make any decisions on what we can do until we have those figures in front of us.
Thank you. Yeah, I will say that when we approved the budget for last year, I believe that those projections that we were given were pretty conservative. Unfortunately, you can't predict the future. One of the things that we have consistently, I feel like Councilwoman Valle, maybe we've over projected, is definitely courts. And that's not something that we need to, that's not a revenue stream at all. But I think that's something that moving forward, we need to be cognizant about how we project that effectively, so that we're not trying to play catch up with that. With that being said, seems like everybody is on the same page. So moving forward, like I said, we'll probably, the last conversation that I had with Marty was yesterday, and he assured me that he will be working on the budget over the weekend. I'm sure Mrs. Sagan will also be working with him. He did make a few phone calls to our previous city administrator to get some ideas about this budget as well. So, or last year's budget as well. So hopefully we'll have it, and we'll have something put to paper really soon.
Mayor, if I may, one more point. This is Andy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just don't want it to be a surprise. I mean, Marty did not include it, but he and I have also been discussing a possible increase to my rates as well. I've been representing the city for 3 years, and I too have not changed my rates or anything like that. So that Marty and I have been discussing that, but we just haven't been able to connect to actually talk dollars and cents, which is why it's not included in here. But I don't want everyone to be surprised when it is included in the budget, right? So that's also one thing we're discussing.
Gotcha. All right, number 2, resolution number 25-36. A resolution of the city of Normandy, Missouri, authorizing a construction grant application to the municipal Park Grant Commission of St. Louis County. So the Parks Board has been working really hard on getting this information, the application completed. Last time I checked, the Parks Board member, Sherry Kearney, she's been working on this, and I believe it's going to be done on Thursday. We had to find some new projections for cost from SWT, because the estimations had to be within the last 6 months, and the ones that we had from SWT when we had our last public hearing, and their report was actually, I want to say it was 9 months. So we had to get some new projections. So the projected cost is $350 for the construction grant. Councilman Washington, you're the liaison for the Parks Board, and I wasn't at the last meeting because of what happened. Do you want to give us, I don't know if you guys discussed this, you want to give us an update?
We talked about it, and Sherry was still in the process of filling out the application, and she stated that she would probably be done with this shortly, because she said she was going out of town, so she wanted to get it done. So I'm pretty sure she probably, if not, completed that.
Okay, so the conversation that I had is the most up-to-date conversation. So she went out of town today.
Okay.
Yesterday, Marty went to SWT and he got the new numbers. We will have it submitted tomorrow pending council approval. So by the end of the day tomorrow, so that way if we have anything that we need to add or anything that we don't have, we have time to do it. The actual deadline is Sunday. So is that Sunday the 30th? Yeah. The 31st. Yeah. So we are, she's done a lot of hard work when it comes to this and everything. Marty, did you work with her also?
I did get the results of what she's been doing, but she literally sent me an email 5 minutes ago that she's on vacation and she's trying to play catch up with some of the information that Marty needs for tomorrow.
Okay. So basically we need a approval of this resolution so that we can get the ball rolling when the application for submission. And like I said, it's for $350. The construction grant. Can I get a motion to approve resolution number 25-36? Who was the first?
Steve.
Oh. All in favor?
Hey.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution number 25-37, a resolution of the city of Normandy authorizing the mayor or the city administrator to execute a memorandum of understanding between Project Lab St. Louis, the city of Normandy and Normandy Schools Collaborative to facilitate educational program for local students. So this is the student city government that Officer Larson and Chief Sanders both are collaborating with Project Lab to partner with the school district on. So this would be basically the teenage version. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the teen county council that the St. Louis County has. Is anybody familiar with that? It's basically, it's the county council, but it's made up of teenagers from different parts of the county. I want to say that they have like 15 students that range from, I think it's 13 or 14 to 18 or 19 and everything. So this would be Normandy's version of that, and they would basically give us input about what they wanted to see for youth in our community and everything, and they would learn about the civil government process and how to effectively, have their voices be heard and everything. So I think it's a great partnership. Anyone have any questions about it? Is Officer Larson there? or Chief?
So I know Yolanda, I'm sorry, Mayor Campbell, I know you mentioned like kind of having a council member liaison, and I definitely want to commit to that. So whenever the next steps, I want to be involved.
I am writing that. Can you send that in an email to all of us so I don't forget? I'm writing it down. Yeah. Put me, Larson, Sagan, and Chief on it.
And what was the last person?
Chief.
Okay, yep.
Anybody else want to partner with Julian for this?
Yeah, I do it.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Tom. Yep, I'll get that email out.
Right. Can I get a motion to approve resolution number 25-37?
Second.
All in favor? Wait, did I get it first and a second? Or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. Ayes have it. I need Chief now
Mayor,
for
she
Springdale.
was
Did she
not.
leave?
Oh, hold on a second. She was not in office today and tomorrow because she is pursuing some medical treatment.
Oh, I thought somebody said that she was here.
She's briefly in the office, but she's not here in the capacity as if she's on shift.
That was
That
my
makes any
bad.
sense.
I didn't know that.
She just scooted into the office briefly.
Oh, okay. Well then, Andy, you're abreast with this, right? The conversation that me and Marty had.
Parking issue on Springdale? Yes, I can opine on what the code says. As far as enforcement issues, I don't want to necessarily speak out of turn as to what Chief might represent, but we can certainly talk about
Well,
that.
let me go through the conversation that we had then, because yeah. So there was an issue with parking on Springdale, and we've heard, Councilwoman Bore brought this up to us, and my question to Andy was, I sent him a picture of us.
Mayor, Councilwoman Bray, it's on Springdale?
No, the street is Nokomis.
I'm sorry. No, they put the wrong one on here. Sorry, it's Nokomis.
Because I looked at Springdale on Google Maps, I was like, I don't see the.
Sorry, it is Nokomis. That's the, yeah, I'm saying Springdale, it's the wrong street. So this is off of Springdale on Nokomis. The problem was, and I believe the resident came, that the way that the street is made, the driveways on one side are offset to help with getting out of them, and then the driveways on another side are very, very long and everything like that. So the problem was that that we were coming into is that there was a car that was basically obstructing part of people moving in and out of a driveway and everything. From what I understood when Chief went over, that is definitely a problem. She went into the driveway and parked in the driveway, and she is a very skilled driver. And it was pretty near impossible for her to get out of that driveway without cutting into a person's the resident's yard. So, and I've been over there several times, and I've seen the street. It is almost like an unspoken rule, in my opinion, that you don't park on that side of the street because it will obstruct the driveways on the other side. I think people in the neighborhood kind of just understand that's not a place where you park. What Chief is recommending is that we have basically a solid ordinance that that has the weight of the law with it, so that we would put up a no parking on that side of the street, so that residents who have the offset driveways will be able to move freely in and out without destroying their yards with that. So that's a recommendation. That's the recommendation that she wants to change the ordinance so that is it that would be the south side of the street.
Is that the south side?
The south side of the street would be the no parking.
Heading into the cul-de-sac,
Coming in,
It'd be on the
coming
left.
off of.
Yeah, it'd be the left side. Yeah.
No, when you're coming into the
Oh.
cul-de-sac, it's gonna be on your right.
Oh, well, I believe
When
that
you're
would be.
coming out of the
Or is it
the
I can't remember if it's the north or the south side then.
at that point.
I think that would be the north side, right?
Is it the north side of the street?
Yeah, when you
Is the north side?
when you come in off of Springdale,
Yes.
you come down Springdale and you kind of curve around to your left. The resident who has the issue with the lady parking there, her home is on your left. The right side of the street is where this lady parks this car and leaves it for months. So it makes it very difficult. I drove 65 passenger school buses. I pulled into her driveway and I tried to back out. Got out of my vehicle and took pictures and sent them to the chief. So then went to the front of my vehicle and took pictures and sent them to the chief so that she could see the difficulty that this woman has. And this is an elder who's trying to get in and out. If I would have kept backing up, I surely would have hit that woman's car. I had to come onto a little portion of the residents' grass in order to come back onto the street properly to keep from hitting this woman's car. It's a bad issue. There should be no parking on that side of the street.
So yeah, cutting into the grass, there was no way that you could get out without cutting into the grass. It was just impossible, like Councilwoman Bure said.
Here's what I would recommend. I can work with Chief to put this together for consideration by the council. So Schedule 4, excuse me, in the traffic code, those are the parking restrictions, right? And so the council already has authority to establish certain no parking zones. All that really needs to be done is to add the particular part of the street, side of the street to, I believe it would be table 4B, which is the no parking at any time section. I can, again, talk to Chief about how to add that. And actually, I will say this, I'm looking at table 4B right now. No parking on either side of Nokomis from Springdale Drive to a point 50 feet north. Now, does that probably need to be extended, or do you, based on your understanding of where that is, do you think that encompasses?
It's probably.
I think that's supposed to be. It should be extended. That's her recommendation.
Off of Springdale onto Nokomis, that's just in that little bend.
Right.
So yeah, it would need to be
And
extended.
certainly that little bend, I can see where parking problem. I mean, yeah, you can see where parking problems. But it sounds, even looking at the map, Nokomis is a pretty narrow drive. So I will talk to Chief just to confirm. But I think it's as simple as amending Table 4B to extend that no parking on. Now, again, right now, what that says is there's no parking on either side of Nokomis. I don't know if the council wants to go that far to prohibit parking on either side of Nokomis. Maybe just one side. We can work on the details. But it sounds like the conditions of that road are ripe for parking restrictions.
Does that sound right, Councilwoman Bure?
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the questions that I asked her was about emergency vehicles going through. If someone did park there. So I think that's something that we need to possibly maybe consider. If somebody, like if we shut it down on one side and then somebody else parks on another side, and everything, because depending on the size of a SUV, a nice size extended cab Escalade can get pretty big. Somebody in wide if someone parks there. So that might be something that we also want to consider if we want parking at all, if it's truly that narrow for emergency vehicles to come through. A fire truck, brush rig, an ambulance, things like that, not just police cars.
What do you think, Ms. Bray?
So in concern for the residents on the Comas, we all have company. People come and visit, but they don't just stay, you know? They don't just park their vehicle and leave it, as this woman has been doing for months on end, without moving it. She moves it a little now because there's pressure. So she'll move it and then bring it right back and put it there. So how do we adjust that to not take away the privilege of the people who live there to be able to park and use, you know, when their company comes, to be able to use the street? Because if you've got a Christmas party going on and your family members are coming, where are they gonna park? If you take away the parking completely, then where do people park?
Right.
So, yes.
So there are two suggestions, I mean, we did this in the previous city I was in. The time limitation, right? You can do the time thing, whereby anything after, maybe midnight, you can't park in the spot, till the morning. And so if the police officers are patrolling and they see the car there, they can ticket you, they have the right to do so. And at some point, if the car is still noticeable there and it's still there, they can tow the car. So you have that escalation process, you can use that. The second would be more like notifying the police department that you have individuals in town, right? So you actually put I'm not sure what kind of ordinance you'd be putting in there. I'll have to remember what it was, but it was a situation where in order for you to park there, you notify the city department, the police department, and the police department knows that this car will be here between these hours, these days, because maybe somebody's in town or whatnot, right? So that still gives the liberty for the residents who live there to be able to still park their car whenever they need to. But those who are not, who are there temporarily, is constrained by these new ordinance or the new rules we put in place. So something like that. Thinking about that in this case might be a way out. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, certainly time limits is a very common method of dealing with this. I have not specifically seen the notification procedures. I'd be very your last city that I would like to look at that as well. But certainly that's a very interesting idea. Yeah, there are ways to work with that.
Yes, we have different options. I like both of those ideas. I mean, it might be a combination of all those things.
Simply park her vehicle in her driveway. The driveway is big enough for maybe 4 cars, and they have a garage. If she parks in front of where her mother's home is at, it does not obstruct the people across the street and their movement in and out of driveways. It doesn't keep emergency vehicles from being able to come down that road. It changes nothing in that sense. This is simply a disgruntled resident who over the years has had problems with this particular lady who she is deliberately annoying. She lives up the street. She parks her car down the street, deliberately at this woman's driveway. All of the changes and everything would not even be necessary if she simply would not do that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that unfortunately some people they just don't want to be good neighbors, right? You have people that for whatever reason they get a wild hair and they don't want to do whatever it is that when I talked to Chief about it, my mom lives on a similar street in another municipality, and we've had situations where we've had to go out and say, hey, can you move your car? And people just do it, right? Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm in the way, I'll move my car. Sometimes people just don't want to be good neighbors for whatever reason. They just stop, right? So it's unfortunate that we have to go through this. I think it's always nice to be kind and to have a good relationship with your to have a good relationship with your neighbor, and everything. But if that can't happen, you just have to bring it to the attention of, of the city and see what they can do about it. So. So we will tackle this. Andy, you're gonna get with Chief and Mr. Sagan, and then we'll tackle this at the next one. Yep. Okay. Do we have anything for personnel?
No one told me not.
No one. I didn't hear anything from Marty about the personnel issue.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything either.
I wasn't aware either. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, everyone. I didn't want to come in and get y'all sick. My daughter and my son and myself have been sick the last 2 weeks, so I'm trying to spare. I think it might be COVID, so I'm trying to spare everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to come in and bring and I just started school, so it might be a combination of all three of them.
Really, thank you, because
Yeah. I don't want anybody to have if you get a sore throat and chills and a fever, you ain't get it from me because you ain't seen me. So, so blame somebody else.
you been in this building.
No, I am not. So that's why I say I ain't been there in 2 weeks. So blame somebody. Everything I'm doing is on the phone or the computer. That's why I did not come to Marty's thing today, and I'm sorry that I had to miss it.
It is not.
Bye, everybody.
I think hunting season on the break.
Yeah, you still want to get out of here.
Yeah, at least